Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for tuning in. And this video is a very important video, guys. So, we are riding up into Q4. And whenever a new quarterly junction occurs, that creates a lot of VWAP confluence. Monthly VWAPs by themselves are already very powerful blobs of volume where traders tend to come in and you get a fierce price reaction. And to get a month that also serves as a quarterly anchored VWAP is always a blessing. The last time we got quarterly VWAPs, amazing moves ended up transpiring. If you were patient, the Q1 VWAP here began, we take the highs, and we end up dumping all the way back down to the VWAP from last October. So, thinking about the next 3 to 6 months, you have to imagine when the start of next year comes, this October VWAP that we're about to see is probably going to mark a bottom next year, or at least an important level that the price will want to go back to. So this October VWAP that's about to spawn in a week and a half, 2 weeks or so, is so important. We're going to be watching this VWAP until like Q2 of next year. And so Q1 VWAP's amazing. And the Q2 VWAP was also insane this year, marking the beginning of a massive bull run and even shepherding us toward the previous quarter's VWAP there too. So we got that quarterly leap there. Q3 came in July, and we did get some good short trades, but not macro reversal. You can see here that we do take the highs, boom, and we SFP that high, and that's a very convincing little top there. And then where do we go? We cool off to the previous quarterly VWAP. So, while we have pumped up into a somewhat declining quarterly VWAP here, there are some things that I want to talk about. So, yes, when Q4 begins, we will want to revisit potentially this July VWAP across charts. So on Bitcoin, we're already here. So there's not much of a trade presenting itself currently. But going into the next quarter, there's multiple ways to go about this. If we sweep the highs, you could potentially look for weakness and trade back down to the previous quarter. Or if we take lows, you could do the opposite. So a range is established here going into Q4 for Bitcoin, and we want to see what the price does going into that new quarter. And there should be trade opportunities marked by the first of the month. So if I enable my Leapfrog indicator here, that white area is going to be our 5-day MA trend there. When we zoom in here, you can see that we're actually still in somewhat of a 5-day MA uptrend on Bitcoin, still behaving very well over the current and previous month-to-date VWAPs. And so I'm not really actually that bearish on Bitcoin just yet. I could be wrong because we are under the 5 MA. This could turn down, the slope could change as soon as tomorrow. But I try not to be too overly bearish unless we're actually under important VWAPs like these. So I am actually still a little bit bullish on Bitcoin, and I would love to see the highs taken one last time going into Q4, get that hype phase, and then we see cool off. That's my ideal scenario, but I'll adapt as I go. Now look at Ethereum here, guys. Ethereum is in a unique situation. One, because it's already in a 5-day downtrend. So this, not the best environment for hoping the price comes up and takes these highs here. There's also a lot of lows that need to get taken here on ETH. ETH has some sort of correction brooding in the background. And look how far ETH happens to be from that Q3 VWAP, 10% away. So there is a massive quarterly leap coming for Ethereum next quarter. It's just a matter of how do we get the best price for that? How do we not FOMO into this idea, jump in too soon or whatever? And so what I'm hoping for is at some point in the next 2 weeks or so, Ethereum is able to repair this 5-day MA trend, and we are taking some of these highs going into Q4. That would be amazing. Because if we were at a price like this at the start of October, look at that trade back to the last quarter's VWAP, a 20% move there, and that would probably only be like the halfway point of the dump. But that's a massive opportunity right there. And also you would have a monthly leapfrog too. So this white line, the month to date VWAP, becomes the previous month to date. It'll turn teal, and a new white month to date VWAP will spawn. And so that new white month to date, let's say we chop up here like this. The previous month to date will be down here, and there will be a short trade like that. Now, it may not look like this immediately at the turn of the new quarter, but this is the overall shape of the chart that I'm kind of hoping for. So typically when you walk into a new quarter, like when you're about to walk into a new quarter, trends don't tend to end early. Like the new quarter is usually what takes out the trend. And so we've been in an uptrend all Q3, and I have a sneaking suspicion that this Q3 uptrend is just going to keep going until there is a sufficient amount of time and VWAP confluences to bring this thing down. So ultimately, I am still hopeful on cryptos going into the last few weeks of the month, but I'm anticipating some nice little moves going into next quarter. It'll look a little different on each chart. There's opportunities all over the markets at times like this. Look at BBAI. This was a stock that I've been making plays on. Unfortunately, sidelined here, but man, you can see how we go from the Q3, the previous year's Q3, back up to the current year's Q3. Nice bounce there. This whole dump here was, if you know VWAPs and you understand those trans-annual quarterly leaps, this wick right here would have made you smile, because it's like, dang, we get that whole trans-annual leapfrog in a single 3-hour candle on this stock. Absolutely insane. And this region here happens to mark the bottom as well. So these VWAPs are killing it, guys. Absolutely killing it. I do have an option on MSTR. I'm really hoping MSTR does this very move, the very move that we're seeing here on BBAI. I am in a micro strategy long, hoping that it does the same thing and comes up to this Q3 VWAP again. Now, if this does come back down to the previous year's Q3, especially at the start of Q4, look how bullish this starts looking here, guys. So there's October 1. Let's just say there is one more F job here going into the new quarter, and we find ourselves at some sort of low here. Boom. You look at this long back up to the previous quarterly VWAP there. So this is the type of stuff that I'm keeping my eyes peeled for. Look across charts, whatever instrument you are trading. Where is that yellow line? And at the onset, first 2 weeks or so of Q4, we might start seeing reversal patterns beginning to form in a move back to this yellow line here. And that's pretty much all I'm looking at right now. As individual moves begin to reveal themselves, I'll try my best to make the calls in the Discord and perhaps talk about them on my lives and stuff. But you could go to any chart and look what's going on between price and its relation to the Q3 VWAP and also the monthly VWAP. And you want to find a chart where it looks like there's a good trade there. And so ADA, for instance, here is quite far away from that Q3 VWAP. And so if this thing does go crazy, let's say ADA takes its highs to end the month, we go into Q4 at all-time highs, far from the previous quarterly VWAP. That is your cue to start looking for reversal, because the VWAPs now have your back. So hopefully we get some really nice moves, guys, in this next quarter that we're getting. And usually Octobers are where the magic happens, kind of like, Octobers tend to start slow. For instance, look at the start of last October here. ADA didn't really do much. If we look at Bitcoin, it was still range bound all the way up until November. So, and also, this quarterly leap last year, I must say, was a very small leap, but that small leap was masking a much, much larger move. And so I would say don't be discouraged by a small leap. That could be a clue of things bottling up and volatility about to come back. And a large gap between the Q4 and Q3 would also be a good trading opportunity as well. So understand that crypto seasonality usually has pumpage going into Q4. If we look at the last couple months here, look, Q4, boom, super bullish. This Q4 was bullish. What about this Q4? Not necessarily bearish, I would say. I mean, look, this, I mean, yes, there was a long bottoming period, but you can see how when the new quarter began, the year to date, right here, that was a massive move. And this was an insane move because this was a yearly leapfrog. If you put a VWAP on the 1st of 2022, look at the size of that yearly leapfrog that followed that weak Q4 that we had. So if Q4 ends up being weak, it's not the end of the party. There could be a massive explosion or a dump, but some sort of move back to the year-to-date VWAPs on your favorite charts if things don't go the way you want them in Q4, but I think they will. So typically Q4s are really good for crypto seasonality. Stonks are also looking really good. Like there's a lot of stocks heating up, getting volatile at the end of the year. So I'm gearing up for a hot holiday season, gearing up for a lot of volatility. I have an open mind. I'm open to kind of either way. Unlike most people on crypto Twitter, like I'm ready to react to whatever happens. I'm plugged in, locked in, mindful that these quarterly junctions are where personally I make the most of my money for the year and the most of my quality calls for you guys. So I will be locked in like 24/7 into the charts for the next 45 days or so, and I hope you guys join me. I know engagement has been a little bit down. Like I tweet and it's like I get like 10 likes now, whereas before I used to get like 70. And so typically at like this point in the year, a lot of people have given up or walked away, but I believe that is a mistake, guys. Stay plugged in. Make sure you subscribe to Flopping Groper and stay engaged, and I know that you will be rewarded. And with that, that's about it I got for this video. It's still a little bit early. We're still anticipating a lot more data coming in before that new quarter, but I just wanted to drop this video to get everyone into the right mental state that there are big ideas coming, not just this quarter, but we also have a new year to date coming in 2026. And if any of you guys remember the insane moves that we caught on Bitcoin from this year's year to date, I mean, shit, if you put a VWAP on 2024 right there and a VWAP on here, let me start over. VWAP on 2024 and a VWAP on 2025. This is a big reason why I had such strong conviction in being bearish up here, guys, because look how far away we were from the previous year's year to date. So these year to date leapfrogs are insane. You could just play this move aggressively and walk away for the rest of the year. That's why I don't mind that you guys are not really as engaged as you were at the start of the year, because this is the final stretch. Not many people are left in the race at this point, but for those that are left, I believe that there's a lot of money left on the table. So we've got a quarterly leap, we've got an annual leap, and we've got a lot of great things coming toward us, guys. So stay blessed, smash the like, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.